wearing my Jedi robe today. See, there's a show today. I wasn't sure, but the cat started waking me up at 4 a.m. I yelled at her. I told her it was my birthday and to let me sleep, and she did not care. It's alright. I'm just gonna get up and have coffee anyway. Alright. Oh, spilled a little. It's okay. And 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Monday, June 8th, 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Well, it's my birthday, so happy birthday to me. I hope you're well out there. I hope you had a great weekend. I planted a bunch of stuff, and what else did I do? Helped some friends, and thank you, Frank. Frank says happy birthday. What else did I do this weekend? Oh, went to a friend's birthday party on Saturday. It was a nice day. It was a nice weekend. It was. Friday went well. And, yeah. I need more sleep. I'm wearing the Jedi robe because the other one's in the wash. I haven't washed it yet. And so what am I doing today? What is going on for my birthday? Well, I'm going to go for a hike. This is year 3 of hiking the most famous mountain we have here in Vermont called Camel's Hump. If you look it up, you'll see why it's called Camel's Hump. It's not very far from my house. I can be on the trail in 30 minutes. Thank you, Gabe. Gabe says happy birthday. And last year I did it barefoot for the first time. It was the longest hike I'd ever done barefoot, and it went well, so I'm going to do it again. My feet were a little banged up, but that's okay. I'll bring some shoes. I prefer being barefoot. It's just better. I think I have enough snacks. I went to the grocery store yesterday, so we'll throw some snacks and some water in a bag and hike. See how it goes. Coffee is so good. Well, I got a text over the weekend, an email over the weekend from my buddy who's putting the porch out back, and that's supposed to be happening next weekend. So, knock on wood, if we have some nice mornings, I might do an episode of the show from the porch. How crazy would that be? It'd have to be a warm morning, because right now it's like 50 degrees, and that's not uncommon even through all of summer. Here, mornings are generally cool, but we'll have some that'll be warm, and yeah, just be out there and do a show, and you can all see the trees behind me, and yeah, be fun. What else is going on today? You know, there was a post that popped up on Facebook yesterday. You know, one of those, remember this from a few years ago? And it was a list of all the things that I was identifying as my favorite things, the things that I wanted to do. And that list hasn't changed that much. Motorcycle, hike, nachos, whiskey. Friends. But a few things have changed. Now, of course, this year, I'm not going to be celebrating with very many friends. I'll have dinner with a friend. I had a few beers yesterday after not having any alcohol for more than a month, and I gotta say, I like alcohol in the moment. I don't really think I need it in my life. I don't think I'm going to go so far as to say I'm not drinking ever again, but I struggle to have just one. I don't know if you also experience that. Nachos are still on the list, so I'll stop at the grocery store and pick up the few things that don't have to make great nachos. I make the best nachos. And yeah, so we'll do the hike thing. I will not be on the motorcycle. I'm not riding to the trail. Well, if you ever gone for a long hike and you come back off, the last thing you want to do is sit on a motorcycle. What you really want to do is sit in a self-driving car and go to sleep. Coffee. I got coffee on my birthday. And I'll be hiking, so I'll see plenty of dogs. So it'll be a good day. I'm proud of myself for taking the day off work. This is not a thing that I've done often. I think this is like only the second or third year. I think actually it was a Saturday last year. I think the year before I might have taken the day off, but I think that was the first time I'd ever taken my birthday off from work. So, there's something I want to bring up. Thank you. Frank says you deserve nothing less. I appreciate that, my friend. There's something I want to bring up. I have often compared CrossFit to martial arts. I have spoken positively about CrossFit, the synergy between the two, the things it has done for me, the friends I've made, etc. And unless you're in the CrossFit world, you probably don't care about what's going on in the CrossFit world. But the end of last week and over the weekend, some pretty big things happened in the CrossFit world. The founder of CrossFit said some pretty rough stuff on Twitter. And somebody reached out to him, I think independently. I think before that, I'm not 100% sure of the timeline, but that's what it seemed to be, and said, why has the CrossFit organization been quiet about Black Lives Matter? And his emailed response was abhorrent. It lacked any element of sensitivity or tone that would be appropriate. And that set off a chain of events where gyms are done. They just stopped. These gyms are no longer going to be affiliated with CrossFit. The gym I started at, the largest gym in Vermont, and many others. It's into the hundreds, if not the thousands already. I am unclear what our gym is doing at this point. But it's CrossFit as an organization is done, which is a shame, because CrossFit, the organization, was doing a lot of good work around health. And I don't just mean the gyms. There have been some pretty powerful things that they've been working on. And this is why I don't think organizations, businesses, should get involved in political things. This is why, despite the things that I say, think, and do, personally, I really try not to let whistlekick be any kind of political sounding board. What if I get it wrong? What if I say the wrong thing? And I bring down everything I've built and negatively impact all of the people who've been associated with it. I just don't think it's appropriate. And so this is my very quiet message to some of you to say there will be no message from Whistlekick. I think if you look at the body of work that we have done, I think you can infer a lot from that. And that's probably the last I'll say about it. So. Now, Frank was kind enough to send in 3 comments for me to respond to. And what's fun about them is that they're 3 comments from me, 3 quotes from myself. Today, Monday, June 8th, 2020, is Jeremy's 41st birthday. Yes, it is. Happy birthday, Jeremy. Thank you, Frank. Do what you can with what you have where you're at. That's all we can do. And I think when I say that, it's more of a reminder to me than to anything else or anyone else. Because for so long, I have struggled with feeling like I didn't do enough. I was raised that there was always more all the time. And Gabe says, that's awesome, Frank. You know, my upbringing had some challenges, and I've hinted at that. I've probably even talked a little bit about that on First Cup. I've definitely talked about that on Martial Arts Radio. But there's a line with doing more where it becomes compulsive. And I have a hard time with that, and I'm getting better. So here's a good example. Yesterday I was at the gym. We're getting ready to reopen today, and we were all there cleaning. I mean, really cleaning. We spent 3 hours cleaning. It's not that big, and there were 9 of us, so that gives you an idea of how clean this place is now. And I'd expected to be there till about 2 o'clock, and I had things that I wanted to do around here. Some plants I wanted to get in the ground, etc. And I didn't want to be the first one to leave. That didn't look right to me. So I waited in here, and it became 2:30, and I started getting really anxious because there were things that needed to be done, and I wasn't doing anything. I was standing there, and I was watching like one person mop a floor, and everybody else is just kind of chatting, and feeling like the day was getting away from me because I wasn't doing enough. It's a part of my personality that helps me get things done. People ask me, Jeremy, how do you get this much done? How are you working on all these shows and all these projects on the side? It's because of that part of me. But that part of me has a dark side. I draw the line of what I can do to be very far from where I think most people would draw the line. Most of the time it works out in my favor. But it also cost me my 20s because I worked all the time. I was engaged and I still worked all the time. But I think it's still a good life philosophy. Do what you can with what you have where you're at. And I've gotten much, much better. Next quote, I remember it. Never settle. So obviously the whistlekick slogan. It's been the whistlekick slogan for a very long time. And if you go back, it was our slogan before it was Verizon's slogan. Verizon dropped that pretty quickly. Sprint made it their slogan for a minute recently. And then they stopped doing that. And I was at the gym, was it a Planet Fitness, maybe a year ago, probably a little less. And there was a woman wearing a shirt. Thank you, Chris. Chris says happy birthday. There was a woman wearing a shirt that I asked her about because it said never settle on it. I said, who's that? It was a shirt from a female bodybuilder. Oh well, it's our slogan. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because it is the simplest way to explain the martial arts. Never settle. If that was the first instruction of a martial arts student's handbook, you wouldn't need anything else. If that is the spirit with which you approach your training, the spirit with which you approach any aspect of it, you'll do fine. Think about it. Am I settling or not? Oh, I'm kind of tired. I should go to class, but I kind of want to just stay home. Never settle. Oh, obviously I'm going to class. Feeling a little tired, The instructor's got his back to me. He won't know if I dial it back a little bit. Never settle. I'm not going to do that. Sparring. Sparring's really hard. I don't really like it. I don't know if this is right for me. Maybe I'll just go work on forms. Never settle. I'm not only going to approach this with a positive attitude, I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to go to sparring classes. I'm going to train at home. It's the answer. It's the reason it's the slogan. It's simple, but it explains everything. We've put it on shirts. We've put it on hashtags. So many have stolen it. That's fine. You know where it came from first. I'm sure I was not the first one to put those two words together. I might not even be the first one professionally to use those two words together. That's fine. But it is our slogan. And it'll be our slogan until either somebody forces us to change it, excuse me, or we come up with something better. I think it's kind of hard to have something better than that. It's pretty good. Oh, and the third one today, one that I find myself reminding myself of a lot currently. You can't out-science nature. It's one of my core life philosophies. If nature is carrying along on a path, there is no science you can use to stop that. You can bend it, you can shift it, but ultimately it'll come back. And there are plenty of videos and scientific studies that show that's the case. Stacy had posted a video on Facebook on Friday of these homes in, I think it was Sweden, near the ocean, and there was probably a 20-acre parcel of land that just slid into the ocean with the houses, the buildings, the car. It just right in. It was nuts. Trees, everything. It wasn't that the house slid, it was that the whole chunk of land just went in. Nature is so complex, and we don't give her credit for that. We like to think that we're smart enough that we can out-science nature, and we can't. What was the example I was thinking of yesterday? Oh, weather. How many different things go into predicting the weather? Humidity, pressure, airspeed, and direction. I think that's it. how often is the weather prediction spot on? Almost never. So take a system like that has relatively few variables, and then look at something that's got a lot more variables. Human digestion, thought, anything else. We're scratching the surface. Our arrogance as a species is mind-blowing to me. We think we have so many things figured out. We don't. Now you can choose to take this principle and extend it however you want. You can apply it to current events. You can apply it to just about anything. And you'll probably get a pretty good sense of how I feel. But maybe not. I don't know. We have an episode today, because it's Monday. What episode came out today? Whose is this? Today's is... Oh, Sensei Daryl Vidal. And even if you don't remember that name, if you don't know that name, if you check out the graphic that we used, you will recognize him. I had a great conversation with him. Actually, a lot of fun. Sometimes we invite people on the show because of something they've done, a role they've played, a time in history that they occupied, a person they trained with. And sometimes you get exactly what you would expect, and the conversation revolves entirely around that person or that movie or book, and we get a good conversation. But sometimes that aspect of their personality is a jump-off point, and we talk about it, but we end up talking about so much more, and it's broader, it's deeper, it's a kiddie pool versus an Olympic swimming pool. And this was one of those episodes. Yes, he had a role in, I would suggest, the most impactful martial arts movie of all time. But who he is and what he's done and what he's doing are so much more than that role. So make sure you check that one out. And with that, I'm going to go. I'll probably post some pictures on Instagram if you want to follow me there, at Jeremy Lesniak. And I can see the birthday wishes are rolling in on Facebook. I'll probably respond to all those before I head out, because I make it a goal. Every single person who wishes me a happy birthday gets a reply. I think if someone's going to take the time to wish me a happy birthday, the least I can do is reply personally to them and not just reply collectively. So I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope to see you back here tomorrow. I hope that if you are so inclined, you'll take a moment out of your day to do something positive for the world in celebration of my birthday. That is all I ask. That's all I ask of anyone. Do something good that maybe you wouldn't do. Could be sending a text to somebody to say, hey, thinking of you. It could be forgiving someone. It could be making a charitable donation. It could be just about anything, as long as it's positive. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching. Special birthday edition. Do you like the sunglasses I used in the picture? I'll see you back here tomorrow. 6:30, bright and early. Take care, everybody. Peace.